Abraham Lincoln is one of the most iconic figures in American history. A man born in a log cabin who rose to become president, saved the Union, ended slavery, and paid for it with his life. But behind the legend is a story of struggle, failure, determination, and leadership during the darkest moment in American history. This is Abraham Lincoln, explained in this video. Abraham Lincoln was born February 12, 1809, in a small log cabin in Hodgenville, Kentucky. His family was poor, constantly moving from place to place, and Lincoln had less than 1 year of formal schooling in his entire life. He taught himself to read by reading every book he could find, and neighbors recalled seeing him walk miles just to borrow a book, then read it late into the night by the firelight. His mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, died when he was just 9 years old, and his father remarried a year later to Sarah Bush Johnson, who became a positive, strong influence in his life. Lincoln later said that he loved her as dearly as any son could love a mother. From these tough frontier beginnings, Lincoln developed a strong work ethic, a deep sense of empathy, a love for learning, and a quiet determination. As a young man, Lincoln worked every job he could get: rail splitter, farmhand, store clerk, postmaster, and surveyor. But his true passion was law and public speaking. He moved to New Salem, Illinois, where he quickly built a reputation for honesty. People even began to call him Honest Abe, which continued to be his nickname throughout his entire political career. In 1834, Lincoln won a seat in the Illinois state legislature, and in his spare time, he studied law so intensely that he literally taught himself the entire subject. By 1836, he became a lawyer and started practicing in Springfield. He was known for being logical, speaking plainly, and refusing to exploit clients. His career was rising, but his personal life was filled with heartbreak, including the death of Anne Rutledge, a woman he cared deeply for. However, Lincoln married Mary Todd in 1842, and they had 4 sons together, but only one survived to adulthood. Lincoln served 1 term in Congress from 1847 to 1849 and opposed the Mexican-American War, which hurt his popularity. After losing political support, he returned to law, thinking his political career might be over. But the issue of slavery brought him back. When Congress passed the Kansas-Nebraska Act in 1854, allowing slavery to expand, Lincoln was outraged. He re-entered politics, warning that slavery was a moral, political, and national crisis. His debates with Stephen A. Douglas in 1858 made him famous across the country, even though he lost the Senate race. 2 years later, the new Republican Party nominated him for president. Lincoln won the presidency in 1860 without a single Southern state voting for him. Southern leaders feared he would abolish slavery immediately. So before Lincoln even took office, 11 Southern states seceded, forming the Confederate States of America. Lincoln's goal was clear: preserve the Union at all costs, even if it meant war. And war is exactly what happened. On April 12, 1861, Confederate forces fired on Fort Sumter in South Carolina, which began the Civil War. Lincoln faced enormous pressure. Half the country rebelled, his generals kept failing, the death toll skyrocketed, and his critics said he should give up. But Abraham Lincoln refused to listen to the outside noise. He transformed the war from simply saving the Union into a fight to end slavery. On January 1, 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing enslaved people in Confederate territory and allowing black men to join the Union Army. It didn't end slavery instantly, but it changed the meaning of the war forever. That same year, at a cemetery dedication in Gettysburg, Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address. 272 words that became one of the most famous speeches in American history, and redefining the USA as a nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. By 1864, the war turned in the Union's favor under generals like Ulysses S. Grant and William Tecumseh Sherman. Lincoln won re-election that same year, something that no president had done during a civil war. He pushed for the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery everywhere in the United States. On April 9, 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Grant. The Civil War was effectively over. Lincoln had saved the Union, ended slavery, and set the country on a path toward healing, but he would not live to see that future. Just 5 days after that surrender, on April 14, 1865, Lincoln went to Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. During the play, actor and Confederate sympathizer John Wilkes Booth slipped into the presidential box and shot Lincoln in the head. Lincoln died the very next morning, and his funeral train traveled across multiple states, and millions of Americans lined the tracks to say goodbye. He became a martyr for freedom, unity, and equality, everything that America stood for. Lincoln started his life in poverty. He faced loss, failure, depression, and political defeats, but through determination, empathy, and moral conviction, he became the leader who preserved the United States. His legacy includes saving the Union, ending slavery, strengthening democracy, and reshaping the meaning of freedom. Today, he is widely regarded as one of America's greatest presidents of all time. Comment down below other figures in history that you want to see covered, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you'll see them when they come out.